So one technique that you can do while you're just on foot here in Empyrion is you have a jetpack. So if I press J, I have a jetpack, and it basically has, whoa, alien bug. You can sprint, just do a quick sprint, and then just tap the jetpack, and then you can move pretty quickly and cover a lot of ground that way. And these little plants here are actually called corn dogs. I don't know why they would name those corn dogs. Can you, if you guys have any thoughts on that? Oh, here we go. This is a raptor. And it kind of looks like a raptor. Some of these guys are neutral, but they are very dangerous if you do aggro them. Now we come to one of the cool things about Empyrion. Like 7 Days to Die and Minecraft and so forth, it's got a destructible environment. And I like to dig. Hello everyone, and welcome to Empyrion Alpha 7. Just released this morning. I'm an Oldguy Gaming, and I'm ready for a space adventure. So Empyrion is one of my top favorite games, along with 7 Days to Die and Ark and some of the other ones. I have about 220 some odd hours into this game, but the thing is I haven't played it in about a year and a half. So I completely missed Alpha 6, and I believe it was either 4 or 5. Honestly, I don't remember. It was approximately a year and a half ago when I played this game. And at that time, I played it for, like I said, about 200 hours or so. Really got into it, just enjoyed the heck out of it. But then, moved on to other things. And then they had Alpha 6 come out, and now we have Alpha 7. So I'm like 2 major releases behind, which is good from the standpoint of there's a lot of new stuff in the game. I have play tested experimental Alpha 7 for just a few hours just to kind of get my head back into it, but by no means that I cover or discover everything that's new in the game. So it's going to be new to me. It's going to be hopefully new to you. Well, it is new to you because it's Alpha 7 and it just came out, and we're going to have a good time with this. So let's get our game set up. First of all, I'm just going to do the default scenario, the open world sandbox. There are different scenarios that you can play. Like story mode, that sort of thing. And I might try those at some point later on, but for now, we're just going to do, the default mode. We'll see how that goes. So let's go ahead and name our game. So we're going to call this Oldguy. And we'll do survival mode. There is also a creative mode that you can do, which is great for building and things like that, but we're going to do survival mode. Let's set the seed to my birthday. 1967. Okay. As far as the difficulty settings go, I think what I'm going to do here. So I'm a little torn because if you've watched my 7 Days to Die, you know that I like to play that on super hard mode just for the challenge and so forth. I'm a little hesitant to do that now, only because there's so much new to the game that I have to learn. That I'm not sure if I want to add that extra difficulty level. So I think what we're going to do is this, guys. I think what we're going to do is this. We're going to leave everything on the default settings for now. Just all the normal, medium, whatever settings. And as the game progresses, if I feel like it's just too easy or starting to get boring, then I'm going to go ahead and crank up some of the difficulty settings on here. Mostly, things like the enemy difficulty and so forth. I don't really like difficulty that slows your progression or makes it take longer to craft things. I'm not really into that, but I definitely like it when enemies are challenging. So let's just put that, let's do a rain check, we'll say, on enemy difficulty, drone-based attack, overall drone presence, those sorts of settings. And as we get into the game, if we feel like, again, it's getting a little too easy, then we'll go ahead and bump some of that stuff up. Okay, the other thing I am going to also do is I have 2 options. I can either start on Akua or Omicron. And again, I'm a little torn on this because here's the thing. Akua is, it's the most common place to start. It's the easiest place to start, but it's also the most beautiful planet of all the planets. And more importantly, with Alpha 7, they've completely redone the surface of the planet. The world is just beautiful. It's gorgeous compared to the previous alphas. And so there's that. But then on the other hand, Omicron is a little more challenging. It's a desert world, though, so it's not anywhere near as pretty as Akua is, but it's a more challenging place to start. For one thing, there's no breathable atmosphere in Omicron like there is on Akua, because Akua's like basically like Earth, you know, and you don't have to have your helmet on all the time. You can breathe the atmosphere and so forth. Whereas Omicron is an unbreathable atmosphere, so it adds that extra element of oxygen that you have to manage early on in the game. So, I tell you what, I just, you know, my gut's telling me to go with Akua just because, you know, it's so nice, and you know, it'd be a great place to do a base. So I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and start. We'll go ahead and start on Akua, and we'll visit Omicron later. And maybe later on I'll start either a season 2, or you know, maybe a separate series or something like that, where we'll do everything super hard mode and we'll start on Omicron and so forth. All right, so let's just kind of keep that in the back burner. But we're going to start with Akua for this first playthrough. So let's get started here. Here we go. Really excited to play this. Been keeping an eye on it for the last few weeks. And like I said, I probably, you know, played 4 or 5, maybe 6 hours at the most on experimental, just to, again, kind of refamiliarize myself with the game. So here we come. We're crashing down in our pod. Lots of stuff nearby. That's good. The engine compartment over there is basically the POI that the player can set up their first base in if they want to. I probably won't do that. I like to just go ahead and start off by building my own base right out of the chute, and I like to build it by water. So we might go ahead and just set up right here, since we're right on the shore of this little lake here. Crash right into the raptors. Oh man, that's loud. That's loud for me. I don't know how loud it's going to be on the video. All right, here we are, guys, on Akua in Empyrion Alpha 7, and the adventure begins. First thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our escape pod and grab the stuff out of there. We got a couple of small medipacks. We have a gun, a drill, and a chainsaw. And then a couple other things here. Antidote pills are for when we get poisoned, which we will. We've got the survival constructor, which we'll set down almost immediately and start working on. Some rations, some fuel, ore scanner. I'm glad they're giving that to us off the bat, because mining without this thing in Alpha 7 is, you know, very, very difficult, you know, when you're doing it by hand. And then we got this nice little anniversary cake that the devs are giving us, which is essentially going to be a large medipack for us if and when we need it, and I'm sure we will. So, oh, I put that stuff back in the escape pod. I'm glad I discovered that before it despawned, or that would have not gone well for us. Let's load up our pistol. We're going to get a shotgun going as soon as possible, because the pistol really, really sucks. I'm just saying it right now, okay? It's absolutely terrible. And this is, you know, just on medium settings, too. So, the very first thing I want to do is I want to get some ore going, because I'm going to need that before anything else can happen. And in particular, we want iron. So it looks like there's some iron over that way. We got promethium nearby, which is good. Copper, silicone. Yeah, so this isn't a bad spot. I mean, we got a lot of the ores that we need close by. So let's go ahead and cruise over to this iron deposit. While we're over there, we'll loot the engine compartment too and grab whatever that has to offer for us. But I think we're going to come back down here and build somewhere along this lake. I like to be next to the water, both for resource reasons and just because it's nice. So I will, you know, assuming some of you watching this video are probably not familiar with Empyrion, I will go ahead and you know, cover some basics. Well, I'll try not to get, you know, too much into tutorial mode. I can't talk this morning, but you know, we'll cover some of that for those of you who are new. So one technique that you can do while you're just on foot here in Empyrion is you have a jetpack. So if I press J, I have a jetpack, and it basically has, whoa, alien bug. Okay, he's neutral. He won't attack me unless I attack him, and I am going to actually have to attack him later on when I'm doing some of the quests. So you have a jetpack. It has infinite fuel, but it does have to recharge after a couple of seconds. So what you can do is you can sprint, just do a quick sprint, and then just tap the jetpack, and then you can move pretty quickly and cover a lot of ground that way. You want to be really careful with your sprinting, because if I hold down sprint, if you look in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see that my sprint or my stamina gauge, which is the little guy running, is going down very quickly. And you'll run out of that way sooner than you need to. So you have to kind of be careful, because there's going to be moments later on in the game where, enemies are going to be chasing me and things are going to get, overall unpleasant or more dangerous, maybe is the better way of putting that. And so I'm going to have to manage my stamina just like I would have to do in 7 Days to Die. So, again, to cover that, you just quickly tap and hold sprint, and then you just repeatedly tap your jetpack, and then you can move very quickly across the surface. It's a nice little technique. Now, we have several things that we can pick on the planet, resources. Fiber is this stuff right here. Kind of looks like a green tumbleweed, for lack of a better term. And we need that for a lot of different things. And these little plants here are actually called corn dogs. I don't know why they would name those corn dogs. Can you, if you guys have any thoughts on that? Okay. Actually, corn dogs are an edible plant. And I'm going to go into my PDA here. And these are the different missions that you can do in Empyrion. And when you accomplish them, you get a bunch of XP, you get some gold and stuff like that. So, Delicious Green Eating Akua is the one I'm going to do. I just double-clicked on it. Now, if you look up on the right-hand side of my screen, it wants me to collect 4 different types of food on the planet. And once I do that, then I'll finish the quest and I'll get some cool stuff for it. So we're going to pick the corn dog right now, and it checks that off, and now I have that part of the quest done, and I'll run into more corn dogs as we go. Now, you might be thinking, well, that's really cool, man. If you got corn dogs on the planet, you never have to worry about food. True, however, there is one caveat to all of that. The stuff that you can eat on this planet, especially the raw stuff, you have a chance of getting food poisoning each time you eat it. And so if you do get food poisoning, that's bad, because it starts affecting your health, your stamina, and that sort of thing. And then you have to take either pills, or there's other types of plants or herbs on the planet that you can pick that will cure you of the food poisoning. So, there's always that risk if you're eating the raw food, that you could get food poisoning. And then, of course, if you don't have the pills, if these run out, or you don't have the other stuff that you can get to cure it, then you're in trouble. So it's not quite as awesome as it might first sound. But it's a neat mechanic, though, too. It's just, it's another one of those things that adds to the survival aspect of the game. That little red thing off in the distance is a drone. That's an enemy drone. I got to be careful of him, because if I get within a certain range or he detects me, he'll come after me. And I have crap weapons right now, and that would not be good. So we've got to be kind of careful of him. And he's over there by the crashed MS Titan back part, which we will definitely be visiting later to loot and get some cool stuff. But we're not in a position yet to do that, of course. Now, here we have a boulder, and I have my drill. So I'm going to reload the drill with biofuel, this stuff in my inventory here. And then I'm going to right-click, and I have 2 modes with the drill. Resource mining is when I actually do normal mining, and then stone removal allows me to break stones and other types of surface ores and get some resources. So let's do that now. If you look in the lower left-hand corner of my screen real quick, it just flashed away. I got a little XP, and I got some cobalt ore, which is actually really good. Cobalt's extremely rare on Akua, and it's something we're definitely going to need. So whenever you see those boulders, it's a good idea to break them up with your drill, get some XP, get some resources, and so forth. Okay, that's a fuel tank. Excuse me. Now this POI is basically the starter player base. Again, if you choose to utilize this as your first base, which you can do. I'm not going to do that because, again, I want to build down by the water. But what I am going to do is loot the place. So we got some iron ingots from there. We got some rockets, which definitely do not need, this early in the game, but maybe later. From there, and then there's a refrigerator here with some food. It's got waffles. Yeah, the food's kind of fun in this game. There's a lot of different recipes. You can even make like a cheeseburger and stuff, in the game. That's really cool. And then a seaweed snack. Notice that this gives me both food, and I can also use it to cure food poisoning. So that's kind of a double benefit there. all the stuff that's in here, I can and probably will come back later on and take apart. Like these here are crop plots or growing plots that you can, start a farm with and so forth. And I can take the stuff apart and get resources for it. The bed here gives me a stamina recovery. But again, we're not going to do that right now. Right now, we need to go get some iron so we can get our own base started. All right, that's weird. Little glitch there. So let's head over to the iron deposit here. While we're at it, let's go ahead and grab some wood too. We got our little space chainsaw. This is probably going to be loud. Oh, it's not too bad. Excellent. So that gave us some logs that we'll use our constructor later on to make into planks for things that we'll need for building. These dudes off in the distance here. Oh, okay, yeah. There's wildlife on the planet. This is a Triceratops, and it looks like a Triceratops. So these guys up here are called lizard mules. These are kind of like, the cattle of the game, and you can actually get milk from them. The game doesn't have a mechanic to where you can actually tame animals or raise them. That would be really cool if you could. Maybe that'll happen some other time. I don't know. But these guys, they're passive, so if I attack this guy, he's going to run off. I don't have the firepower to kill him right now. The Triceratops is neutral, so if I attack him, he's going to come after me and kick the shit out of me. So, again, we'll leave them alone for now. Now, these guys over here, these are called the Talons. That's their race, I guess. And they're humanoid aliens, and they're loud as hell. And they're also neutral. So, if I attack these guys, or I attack that Triceratops, I almost said trike, too much arc, right? That Triceratops over there, these guys will come after me. So they're kind of like, the guardians of nature or some kind of stuff like that. But killing them does give you a lot of XP, and they have loot on them and stuff like that, and we might, take them out later on if we need to. There really isn't any negative effect to doing that in terms of, like reputation or so forth. Oh, here we go. This is a raptor. And it kind of looks like a raptor. Some of these guys are neutral, but they are very dangerous if you do aggro them. And then there's going to be another type of raptor called a night raptor that we'll run into later on. Probably the most dangerous creature on, wildlife creature on Akua that I've run into so far in my, 4 or 5 hours of playtesting. Really, really dangerous dudes. Fast. You can't outrun these guys. They will catch you. And so, you want to have some pretty decent firepower when you encounter those guys. And the game gives me a day and night grace period. So I don't really have too much to worry about now. That drone would still attack me if I went over there, which I'm not going to do right now. So I'll be able to go through this entire day and the night. Where's my iron? There it is. Without having to worry about too much. But once day 2 starts, and more specifically night 2 starts, then this planet gets really dangerous at night. Particularly because you got the night raptors, you got these giant spiders that come out at night, you got these alien humanoid things, and it gets very dangerous. So, one of your early on goals is that you want to make sure you're equipped, you got a base up, or at least some good weapons. Where the hell's that iron at? Oh, it's right below me. Duh. By the time night 2 starts, or you're going to be in a world of hurt. And remember too, I've got the game just on the on the normal settings too. Later on, like I said, we might try this again in like a season 2 with the hard settings once I'm like really comfortable with the game. So down here we have iron deposit. It's approximately 14.8 meters below the surface, but they changed the way this works as well. So notice that when I equip my drill, we see an outline of the ore nodes, I guess we'll call them, down below me here. And, these ones are fairly far down, too. This one's, yeah, it's just kind of weird, how it works because, these are different size, too. So that node there could be fairly close to the surface and really small, or it could be a huge node way down there. So the only way you can really find out is to get down and start drilling. Excuse me. So when I played this, a year and a half or so ago, an iron deposit was just this one big, gigantic, huge deposit of iron, and you'd go in and you'd, mine it and have your iron and go on your merry way. But they've changed it, so now you have these nodes that you have to mine and get to actually get to the resource itself. This ore scanner that I have here is what's showing me those blue nodes. If I didn't have the ore scanner, I wouldn't see them, and then I just have to randomly dig down there and hope that somehow or another, I would run into one of those nodes. So the ore scanner is very important. The drill that I have is the starter drill. It really sucks. Later on, we'll get a laser drill that's going to be a lot faster and more effective, but this is what we have to start with. Okay, so I got to change this to resource mining. And now, man, that is really loud. Let me turn that down just a little bit. Let's bump that down just a bit. Okay. Now we come to one of the cool things about Empyrion. Like 7 Days to Die and Minecraft and so forth, it's got a destructible environment. And I like to dig. So it just makes it real fun. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to dig down with our drill until we hit a couple of those nodes so we get some iron to get started with. In fact, let me turn this off for a sec just because it's so loud. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and cut right here. I'm going to mine this iron, and then I'm going to also go hit some promethium, some copper, and some silicon. Just get some of those resources. I'm by no means going to mine the entire deposit. That would take forever. Just enough to get me started. And then once I do that, I'll meet you guys back here along the shore, and we'll figure out where we're going to set up our first base. If anything exciting happens in between that time, though, of course, we'll bring you back before then. All right? So let's close this, and I'll see you guys in just a little bit. Hey, back for just a second. I thought I would actually show you what happens when you find a node. So we're about ready to break into this one. Okay, so I just popped that in the lower left-hand corner. I got 39 iron from that. Let's hit this one too. So that's the iron that I just exposed. And I got some XP and 87 iron from that one. The progression of this generally works like this. I'll have to use this drill for starters, but I'll eventually get the laser drill, which will be an upgrade from this. And then eventually I'll also be able to make a hovercraft and put mining attachments on that. And that's when the mining really gets going. That's also a new feature there. That option was not available the last time I played Empyrion, so that's going to be new to me as well, but I'm excited about it. Looking forward to trying that out. The other thing that you want to be mindful of too, obviously, is not to dig yourself into a hole that's hard to get out of. So, be aware of that. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit that node. I might even get a couple more of these since they're not that far away from me, really. And then we'll go get some copper, some silicone, and some promethium, and then I'll meet you back at the lake. Okay, so I'll see you guys in a bit.